For today's lesson, we're going to be studying the writing mode of classification and division. And you can see on my screen here some instructional materials about this writing mode that you can access on Google Classroom. So the first part we'll start with is just a definition of what this writing mode is. So division is the process of breaking a whole into parts, and classification is the process of sorting individual items into categories. So generally, when you are doing classification and division, you're always doing both. So we put them together. Today, you are going to be reading James Harvey Robinson's On Various Kinds of Thinking. So in this excerpt from his essay, he is going to be thinking about thinking and dividing up different types of thought and then classifying them and giving them a definition. So, to just give you a brief overview of this essay, is that his main idea is essentially that we need to be able to think about our thinking and understand how we think better so we make better decisions. And so we generally are more rational human beings. So the function of using classification and division in this essay is to identify relationships between a part and the whole, and then relationships between parts. And as you read, you'll come to understand why he's classifying so many different types of thought and to what purpose he would use those types of thinking. So the different types of thinking that he covers in this essay are conscious or rational thought. So that's generally when we're aware that we're thinking, we're going through a thinking process. You might use this in school a lot. Then we have unconscious psychic life. So this is the relationship between the body and our brain, because our bodies are always experiencing different sensations, and they're emitting things to our brain. We also have hidden impulses and desires. That's part of the subconscious. Then there's what he calls reverie, which is really interesting. It's that kind of thinking that's spontaneous, it's free association of ideas. If you're a creative person who plays music or does collages or writes, you might get into this sort of free thinking process. I think it can also happen when people exercise, as long as you're not too tired. You might just let your mind wander and daydream and think about different things. And then you have your beliefs. So, your beliefs or your convictions are often both rational and emotional. And he explains that we need to better understand how we think about our convictions and how we form them, and what happens when our convictions are challenged. And then finally, he'll talk about a last part of thinking, which he calls creative thought. So that's just a quick introduction of classification and division. For your own essays, you might think about, how would you think about a topic and then start classifying and breaking it up into parts, and what could you learn about that topic by philosophically analyzing it that way.